The remains of Guatemala's troubled past are still evident today. Tens of thousands disappeared during the Civil War, and many are still unaccounted for. A human rights group financed by Sweden and the US is searching for signs of the missing at an old cemetery in Guatemala City. 3,000 people are believed to be buried here, and they do find bodies and traces of the brutal violence in an old well.
And we're basically focusing on all the bodies and all the skulls that have gunshot wounds to the head, since we know that from the 889 bodies that we believe are buried here and that belong to people that were forcibly disappeared, about 65% of them have gunshot wounds to the head.
Government forces killed around 200,000 people during the war, which lasted well over 30 years. Many of the victims belonged to the country's large indigenous population. But Guatemala's bloody past has carried over into the present. Today's police are considered to be just as corrupt as politicians. Crimes often go unpunished and violence is prevalent. Drug gangs and major cartels have gained a major stake. Germany gives Guatemala more than 50 million euros a year in aid, some of which is used to help the Central American country come to terms with its troubled past. The aid has led to the examination of millions of documents in the former secret police archives. The files detail arrests, interrogations, and executions that took place during the war.
Right now, we're working on training experts so that the items we've found here can be put together and used in court.
The country's fate strikes a chord with Germany, which has worked through its own difficult past, including a ruthless dictatorship and the East German secret police force, the Stasi.
We learned a lot investigating the Stasi. What we learned there is being put to use here, and that's important. Nothing is worse than letting serious crimes, human rights violations, go unpunished. Now we'll see if those crimes are atoned for.
Many of those who are painstakingly searching through the files lost loved ones in the Civil War. Ada Melgar's father was shot by the military, but she says her work extends beyond her own family.
My father's case is just one of thousands that need to be resolved. Our duty is to order and secure all these documents so that the perpetrators can be taken to court. And that's a very important job.
Guatemala's president has voiced his support for the Human Rights Agency's work. He believes it serves as an important reminder today.
There are people who lived through that time, and those who never experienced it. They have to know what happened so they can prevent it from happening again.
But neither the Guatemalan government nor society have invested in uncovering the country's dark past. Instead, foreign donations have led the charge, like funding DNA analysis to identify remains found in mass graves.
Pretty much any other government agency or state agency does not support the work in any way. Society in general, I think, doesn't have enough information, and because of the lack of justice in these cases, there is blanket impunity on the perpetrators.
But Germany's Economic Cooperation and Development Minister believes aid is still crucial.
This is our last chance to ensure stability here. We know drug cartels have taken over entire regions in neighboring countries. We have to keep that from happening in Guatemala too.
Germany is set to reduce its development aid to Guatemala if the current situation doesn't improve. But financial assistance will continue to fund education and projects dealing with the country's civil war. Meanwhile, at the cemetery in Guatemala City, the human rights group, the Guatemalan Forensic Anthropology Foundation, has found a second well, revealing more horrors from the past.